Time to pull up a chair and talk some Dynasty football. I am your host, DJ Wenner, and this is the Rider Dynasty Podcast, redraft edition. With me are my co-hosts, Jameson Hutchinson and Joe Harlow. Joe, did you miss us last week?
I missed you guys a lot. It looked like you were having some fun, though.
We definitely did. JMO and I were at the expo. He is the best roommate and wingman a man can ask for. It was him, me, and Jody wreaking havoc. The J crew was there. How are you recovering, JMO?
I'm not sure if I'm totally hydrated back from this weekend, but I'm on the road to recovery and I'm doing all right. So trying to come back to civilization's a little tough, but already ready to do it again next year.
Yeah, it's shocking. People around here don't stay up until 3:30 every night.
We do, apparently.
What's that about?
Everything's closed. It don't make any sense, but it is what it is.
All right, Riders, lock in because we are working on our redraft tiers tonight. Now, you might be asking, why is a Dynasty show talking about redraft? Because at the end of the day, Dynasty leagues use much of the same information for the actual season. You're not just going to start a rookie over a vet because he is younger. You actually want to win your league in the season and not just be in a constant rebuild. So over the next 3 weeks, we are going to be taking a look at the FantasyPros positional tiers and making adjustments based upon our opinions. Tonight, we hit quarterbacks and tight ends. So let's ride.
Before we start, don't forget to listen to all of our podcasts and watch all of our shows here at Fantasy in Frames. Head over to fantasyinframes.com with a capital I for all the latest articles and rankings covering a wide range of topics in the world of fantasy football and other sports.
And then after this show at 9 p.m. Eastern, check out the Fantasy in Frames draft show with Stacy, Erica, and Kevin Tompkins as they break down the Queen's Classic for all the ladies in fantasy football over at the Fantasy Football Expo this past weekend. And if you missed us last week, surely Joe was still holding the fort down. With him and Justin Fry went over the Dynasty IDP breakout players. A little bit above my pay grade, but if I were to ever get into that landing spot, it'd be with Joe there. So if you missed that episode, make sure to check it out on the YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Should not be too deep down the list.
How deep?
I say my heart was saved when Chop Robinson said that he did not have a serious injury.
Ooh,
and he carted off the field like 3 days after. Justin and I were both like, oh my God, no, not our guy.
He's definitely on some of my rosters, so I was nervous as well. Now, gentlemen, since we have a hard out tonight, let's get going. Joe, if you can put my screen up on display. We are starting with our quarterback tier. So how we do this is we take a look at the tiers, we decide who we think should move down, who we think we should move up, and we have a little discussion about it. So I'm going to kick this one off. As I said to JMO before the show, I think Jalen Hurts should move down a tier. Now, it's not that I don't love Jalen Hurts, but I don't necessarily see a world where I'm trading Jalen Hurts for Josh Allen, either straight up or with a little kicker. Like, am I wrong here? Where are you at, Jalen Hurts? Joe?
I don't disagree there. However, I feel like he's tied to Jaden Daniels. So I personally have this tier one as two separate tiers. Just Daniels has far worse offense. Tush push was not banned, so Hurts is still going to be able to get those rushing touchdowns. And frankly, those wide receivers are just so much better than what Jaden has. I think you can make a real argument Devonta Smith is just as good, if not better, than Terry McLaurin entering his age 30 season. And I don't know, the rushing touchdown upside is something Jaden just doesn't have as much of, being a lot smaller. So that's my main thought here is if Hurts goes down, so should Jaden.
Okay, so JMO, where are you? You have two yeses on Hurts, one yes on Jaden.
I would leave this tier alone, and for the top guys, Allen and Jackson, I mean, those are pretty much cemented. I think there's a realm possibility where Hurts ends up QB1 this year. They threw the ball less than anybody last year. It just seemed like everything went perfect for him. Saquon ripping off 60-yarders time and time again. The schedule gets much harder for them. So, I mean, it might be time for Jalen Hurts to start throwing the ball. And like I said, last year, everything went perfect for him. If there's a scenario where they have to play from behind, something that they didn't do at all, I think you're going to get more production from Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts is a guy that you wake up out of bed on Sunday morning and you get 20 points from him, give or take. I mean, the tush push, the rushing stuff, he didn't have to do anything at all with his arm. I'm going to leave him in tier 1 because I do actually think he'll be a little bit better than he was last year. And I really like A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. I think those are guys we'll talk about in the next episode, but guys who will also benefit from this. It just seemed like a perfect run out last year. Defense was great. Saquon going off. They just didn't have to do a whole lot on offense, but I like Jalen here in tier 1, but that's just me.
Okay, so I do see what you're saying, and in most redraft leagues, there is a clear distinction between the top 5 QBs and the rest. So that's my leading into, if we leave Jalen and Jaden, I think Burrow has to be in this tier 1. I understand he does not have the rushing upside or the rushing anything, but his passing skills are so far advanced, in my opinion, of the other 4. I think Joe Burrow could easily lead the league in passing again this year. He was the Triple Crown last year. What do you guys think about moving Joe Burrow up a tier?
With how high everyone is on Chase Brown, I don't think you can. And yeah, the defense in Cincy's going to suck again, but if not be worse. But it's just with the rushing not being there, I don't know. I don't see Burrow as a transcendent passer to, at least if we're talking Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. He's not significantly better than them, doesn't have the floor. I think you could argue that you could put how I said I had Daniels and Hurts in another tier. I think you could argue Burrow in that tier, but he doesn't feel the same fantasy type as Allen and Lamar to me.
Okay. J-Mo?
Just the rushing portion of it. I mean, for him, he threw for almost 5,000 yards last year, 43 touchdowns. No, it sets up really similar, but I mean, he hit the top output. I don't know how much more he could honestly push than that. I mean, maybe a little bit more. But just the rushing stuff, I mean, if it doesn't go right for him, I mean, to where these tier 1 guys, they're going to run a little bit. So I'd keep him at the top tier 2, but I see a lot of the tier 1s, including Joe Burrow, and I totally get it because I think it's going to set up just about the same. Defense is going to suck. He's going to have to chuck it. It's going to be probably the most pass-heavy offense in the NFL. So it just the rushing element or lack thereof just kind of keeps it away from the tier 1 because he just does it one way, which he does it better than anybody, but that's just my thought there.
I don't believe that they are going to be the pass-heaviest team. Again, Chase Brown's getting a lot of hype. The offensive line, they've put a lot of effort into boosting it, and most of the boosting they've done is as run blocking, as run blockers. Looking at strength of schedule, also per FantasyPros, Burrow has the 31st strength of schedule. Chase Brown has the 10th. If that ends up being the case where they face a lot more bad run defenses, I feel like they want to give the ball. They want to run the ball more. But
all right.
Well, I'm also a Chase Brown hater, so maybe I'm talking out both sides of my mouth here.
Well, let's take a look at the rest of tier 2 then. So in tier 2, according to the FantasyPros positional tiers, we have Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, and Bo Nix. Joe, is there anybody in that tier who you think should maybe fall to the 3rd?
I'm going to drop Bo Nix. I just don't. This is probably holding on to Pryor's a little bit, but he has the rushing upside. I was not that impressed with him as a passer. His weapons didn't really get better unless, Evan Ingram, I guess, is there. RJ Harvey as both potential dump-off options, and Nix does get to the dump-off quickly. However, having better outlets now, I think, is going to actually lower his rushing a lot, because he is one of those guys, he wants to check it down after his first read's not there. And now that he has good outlet receivers, I think he's going to do that instead of run. not as much. He had 92 carries last year. I could see that dropping towards 50. And the offensive line was the best unit in the league last year and was one of the healthiest, if not the healthiest offensive line behind Buffalo. That typically doesn't happen year over year, especially with a lot of their guys have had injuries in the past. Like Garrett Bowles has missed multiple seasons. So I'm a little out. And maybe that's just me holding on to priors, but
JMO, what do you think about Bo Nix?
Honestly, I can see that, but for a different reason. It sounds kind of goofy, especially the defense being so good. And I know that they've upgraded RJ Harvey, Evan Ingram, those guys, to where Bo Nix doesn't have to do as much running and doing that sort of thing, to where he might not hit his full-on outcome. And just like a lot of dump-offs and stuff last year, the offense I think it's just going to totally change, especially with RJ Harvey. So it sounds stupid that a team gets better and the quarterback doesn't have to do as much, but that's almost, I can see what Joe's saying with bringing him down. So,
all right. Well, since both of you agree, we'll move Bo Nix down. Is there anybody else in this tier then, Burrow, Mahomes, and Mayfield, JMO, that you think should move down a tier?
I want Patrick Mahomes escorted out of tier 2 promptly and immediately. I just don't. We've done this for the last couple of years. He limped his way into quarterback 10 last year. It's been 2 years of just subpar quarterback play, and because he's the best player in football as far as quarterbacks go, fantasy wise, he gets lumped into this tier, and he's not going to hit Joe Burrow. Baker Mayfield is kind of iffy, but I'd rather have some other guys. Yeah,
for me, especially with the Ray Rice news, Pat Mahomes. Rashee Rice, sorry. Oh.
Yeah, a little different.
What, you didn't hear about Ray Rice? He got in trouble in the casino elevator.
Jesus.
But yeah, Pat Mahomes is probably the best quarterback in the NFL. He can drag anybody to the playoffs. And, I mean, hell, he's been passing to Justin Watson, Juju Smith-Schuster. He's been dragging them to where they have to go. But for fantasy reasons, man, I can't do the dink and dunk again. So for me, I would move Pat Mahomes down as well. So being that two of us agree, he goes down.
Yeah, I'd agree there as well. Does Baker belong in the same tier as Burrow?
Now that it's the two of them?
No.
But that's why, to me, either Burrow should have his own tier or he should go up to tier 1. Because Burrow is definitely closer to Hurts and Daniels than he is to Murray and Prescott.
I see what you're saying. If you wanted to eliminate the tier and just add him to tier 1, now that he is all alone, I'd get it. Or we can leave him into the best passer in the NFL tier all by himself. So, or we could do what Sean's doing. We could split him up. It all ends up kind of the same. It just
I think my vote would be what you're doing here would be my vote.
There you go.
All right. So now we're going to have to start adding a tier. I always appreciate that because it takes me a little bit of time to do it. All right. So we are creating a tier. Actually, we're going to call this tier I.V.
I like it. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. That is how you do Roman numerals, if anybody is not aware. And then let me add a tier 2, add 2 columns left, and we'll put a tier 2 in here.
So I think this next tier ends up getting very interesting, and a lot of guys are going to go one way, and a lot of guys are going to go the other. So,
yeah, that's what I found too. There was a serious divide in tier 3 for me. So let's start by putting Mayfield over there.
Yeah, there's this big pocket in quarterback drafts. If you missed out on the elite ones this year, there's a very big group that, not saying they're all the same, but about the same comfort level starting them. I mean, obviously we'll get into it, and for their own different reasons.
Yeah, I have to say, on my other podcast, football diehards over on Full Time Fantasy. Doug and I did 3 different drafts from 3 different spots. And every time we ended up with Dak Prescott. Right? And it was always this tier 3 who we were choosing from. So now that we have a tier 1, a 1.5, and a tier 2, who else should join Baker in this tier 2?
I would start off with Dak Prescott. I think it's an even year. It's been the George Pickens podcast for a little bit. I'm not going to get into that, but I just think they're going to end up kind of like the Bengals, one of the most pass-heavy offenses. We've seen the running backs or lack thereof. And Dak Prescott is, say what you want, he's a good quarterback. So, and you know he's going to get there. CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jake Ferguson. I do think it's going to be a really good year for Dak, and I think in drafts you can get him at a discount. So I'd definitely move him up here.
What about Kyler Murray?
Absolutely not.
I know we hate Kyler Murray, but when he's healthy, he's a top 10 quarterback.
I think the biggest issue here is that he's said a lot recently that he doesn't want to run as much. And I don't think it's Justin Fields has said that too, but I don't think that the offense in New York is going to be more engineered towards running than I think Arizona's will with the weapons they have. So I get it, but I'm just going to stay away from Kyler at this point in this tier.
Should we be putting Mahomes back into tier 2 now?
I would say yes.
Anybody else from this tier, Joe, who you think should move up?
Before Rashawn Slater got hurt, I would have said Herbert. However, that is enough of an issue to keep him in tier 3 for me. I hate myself for saying this, but Brock Purdy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, he is moving up. That is 2. Brock Purdy's the man. I'd say some other stuff, but I don't want to get us kicked off the air. But easiest schedule in the NFL is San Francisco 49ers, and Brock Purdy's the man.
Crazy.
Weapons, I know Brandon Ayuk is coming off IR and will show up to the team a little later, but Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, George Kittle, healthy CMC who's going to crush this year. If you're scared to draft Christian McCaffrey this year, shame on you, but Brock Purdy deserves to be. That's another guy who wakes up 15, 20 points just kind of automatically in Shanahan's system. So,
all right. Now, I want to do something, but I would like your input on this. I think Justin Fields is going to have so many 80-plus rushing yard games. And I'm not saying he's going to pass for 300 yards and rush for 80, but he might throw for 200 and run for 80 week after week after week, ending up with a Jalen Hurts season like last year. I mean, do you think that there's a chance that he finishes as a top 10 to 15 quarterback? I think there is. Only because he's never fallen below that on a per game basis.
I think it's
Yeah.
I think it's tough because I just think it's so thin for Justin Fields. I don't think he's ever. I know he's had some injuries and stuff, but he's never had 3,000 yards passing. I mean, most normal quarterbacks get 4,000. They're definitely going to be probably the most run-heavy team in the NFL. Breece Hall, Braylon Allen,
Isaiah Davis.
Thank you. I almost said Isaiah McKenzie. That's former Buffalo Bill. So that's why I kept my mouth shut there. But I think there's the realm of possibility that he gets there. I'm very worried about health, obviously, for what he does rushing-wise, and just how thin it is. He's not. For me, he's not a guy that I'd rather take some more comfortable clicks, but I think if anybody's going to get 80 yards rushing a game, it's going to be Justin Fields. And we saw that in Chicago. We saw that a tiny bit in Pittsburgh. It's going to be better than Pittsburgh. Everything's better than Pittsburgh. But
I was reading Matthew Berry's 100 Things to Know Before You Draft. He had a little section about Justin Fields saying that of all the games, the Detroit defense has always been pretty stout against the run. And in half the games that they allowed a 100-yard rusher, it was Justin Fields who did 100 yards. And now that defensive coordinator is his coach.
Yep.
At the same time, that's how Jacksonville has signed free agents for the past decade, and how's that worked out for them?
Yeah, but their coaches have sucked.
Yeah, but largely they've sucked because they go for guys who torch them.
That's because everybody torches them, though, to be fair. Like,
also fair. I don't know. Just devil's advocate. I do believe in Aaron Glenn, but I don't know. Fields, looking at him last year, his time in Pittsburgh, he was quarterback 7 points per game for the first 6 weeks. But I'm also going to push back that it's better than Pittsburgh with New York. I mean, the offensive line in Pittsburgh did not fall apart, though. It was better the first 6 weeks. It fell apart once Russ took back over. Garrett Wilson's way better than George Pickens on field and reliability wise as a 1. And then everything else, I like the other weapons, like Pittsburgh's Pat Freiermuth's better than whoever the second is for the Jets right now, right?
Yeah, he's better than Taylor. But I think also
wide receiver 2 is.
We don't have a wide receiver 2. I also think that our running backs are all better than what they had last year there.
They also got Arthur Smith over there, who is a criminal, but I don't know.
He designs a great run game.
Justin Fields
yeah.
I think it just depends on your flavor. Can you get there? Obviously. For me, I'd rather take some shots on some other guys, but I totally understand the Justin Fields appeal.
Is there anybody here in tier 3 who you think should move up? So we have Caleb, Drake, Goff, Nix.
I mean, all of these guys are more reliable than Justin Fields. Every single one of those guys.
Really? I would move Bo Nix up.
See, I think Fields has been consistently with his running game, which is why we have tier 1 and 2/3 of tier 1.5 where they are, is their rushing upside. Now, they're up that high because they couple that with a high passing attack. But Fields has a higher rushing upside than any of those guys.
Who's the most likely of these guys to get benched? It's Fields by 1.5 miles.
See, I don't see him getting benched only because who's going to come in? Tyrod Taylor?
Yeah.
He's also hurt at the moment.
I think Aaron Glenn is building for the future. He's not going to go to an older, more tired QB. They're going to see what happens with Justin Fields. If they end up being terrible, they're going to be terrible for the full year and get a high draft pick and go into the QB market. They're not going to say, oh, Justin Fields was a bust and we're going to start Tyrod Taylor next year.
I disagree. I think if Fields is awful through 10 weeks, he's going to get the hook. I don't know.
I'm not moving Fields. I'm not going anywhere.
I'm out. I'm outvoted there.
All right.
I drug us too long.
Anybody else who should move up there?
I will make a small case for, I know he's been very sexy pick at the moment, but Drake May, his rushing ability on such a bad team last year. I think the hype is getting a little out of control, but in this tier of quarterbacks, I think he belongs there. I think the offense got better. I do not think it has improved substantially. People acting like they just brought in Randy Moss off the street, but compared to what they had last year, I do think that Drake May is another like really solid floor guy. I mean, I was starting him over Kyler Murray. I say that every other week just because I'd like to bury Kyler Murray, but
send him to the depths of hell.
If there's anything farther, please let me know. So, but I think Drake May belongs in this tier as well. I don't want to get too excited to move him up. If we were doing top to bottom, I don't think he belongs at the top, but I do think he gets his way there. That and I think Bo Nix belongs in tier 2 as well. He's a rusher. So, but that depends on you guys.
I agree with Bo Nix as well.
I will. Yeah, and one more thing. I'm going to agree with Joe on Herbert. I think he's going to run a little bit more than he did last year. And I'm not sure if it's a ceiling play, but it's probably more of a floor play for Herbert. I think that if you want to make a case, I wish Slater was playing. Life would be a lot better on that choice. I'm a little worried there, but I do think there is that. Like I said before, this tier right here, if you get stuck in it, I think it's a great place to get stuck. I think there's a lot worse things to do in your life if you miss out. And just hang out here. I think you can get a bunch of league winners here. I think you get guys who go off each week to where you get that upside to where they can drop the 40 burger and you plummet your opponent. All these guys have it right here.
All right. Anybody else from tier 3 who we think should move up? So
I think
right now,
if we're going to move Fields up, I'd have to argue
12.
Kyler.
Oh.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Fine. Can we put an asterisk next to it?
Sure.
Just to make sure that like a
big
legend at the bottom. This was not Jameson supported, but I got outvoted. So
sorry for the typing, not JMO.
I'll tell you one thing. I think we're about done with tier 2. A guy I'm really struggling with is Caleb Williams. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about it because I'm struggling really hard to think about his ceiling, think about his floor. I'm very nervous. Don't think the offensive line is as good as people, even though they've brought in reinforcements. I don't think it's still that great. I think it can fall apart. No, Ben Johnson is the greatest thing of all time, but I'd like to see it before I believe it.
I saw Thor Nystrom posted a tweet saying that he hasn't seen 2 players, a coach and a quarterback, who are so opposed with how they approach the game. Because Ben Johnson is a puppet master. He controls what Jared Goff did. He told him where to look. He told him what to do. They made the choices easy for him. And Caleb Williams generally works best when he's improvising.
Yep.
So it's sort of like the difference between jazz and classical music, right? If you're in an orchestra, you follow the conductor. If you're in a jazz band, improvise, baby. So I think this is probably a good spot for him. Only because it's in that QB2 range. But if we're looking at tier 4, we have Love, Lawrence, McCarthy, Stroud, Tua, Bryce, Penix, Stafford, and Geno. Who from that list should move up to tier 3?
I'm going to get aggressive. I'm putting Jordan Love in tier 2.
Because he was hurt last year and we saw what he could do 2 years ago?
Yeah, and I just think he's just an awesome quarterback. The scheme, I think, is really good for him. Strength of schedule is tough, yeah, but I think it's also one of those where having a bunch of good receivers is going to help him disperse. He's one of those guys like an early career Matt Stafford, where if he had a Calvin Johnson, it'd be worse for him. It's because that he'd hyper focus and get hyper aggressive on those guys instead of peppering it around and being aggressive where it makes the most sense.
I definitely want to move Jordan Love up. I don't know if I would jump him 2 spots. We have sort of like
he's my quarterback 7 this year, for what it's worth. 7 or 8, I go back and forth with him. Dak and Mahomes, 6 through 8.
And he would be our quarterback 17.
I think
I don't know. What do you
FantasyPros
think,
has
Jim?
him at 17.
I can do 3, and I can see the situation for 2. I know we all hated Matthew Golden, the pick at the beginning of the year. I'm really starting to flip around and think he's like one of the best picks on the board. And Jordan Love's aggressiveness, I think, is going to work perfectly for what Matthew Golden wants to do. Tucker Kraft really came in his own last year. And then it's just the rest of the guys, Josh Jacobs. I don't think they're going to run near as much as they did last year. I think last year Jordan Love gets hurt in St. Paulo or wherever they're playing against the Eagles. And it just like snowballed into the abyss after that. I think I can see, I'm not going to do it, but I can see Joe's case for Jordan Love moving up to the next tier. And you're going to get a discount on him. He runs a little bit, something he didn't really do. Like I said, once he got hurt, he just kept getting hurt. Just seemed like stupid stuff over and over again.
So you want to move him up to tier 2?
I don't know if I want to, but I'm not against. Screw it. Let's do it. I'm going to be with Joe here. Let's be aggressive. I want to support Joe in this, trailblazing act that we can be aggressive on Jordan Love.
I need a win here.
He can get.
I need a win here with my guy Justin Herbert. It's fallen so hard. This is what makes me hate fantasy is Justin Herbert, my quarterback 4 in the league, and he's down out maybe at quarterback 20 for fantasy.
So who should join Justin Herbert, Caleb, and Goff?
For me, it's going to be BY, Bryce Young. I think he's going to whoop ass this year. I think Tedero McMillan is just huge for this offense. I think that literally, he's going to be aggressive. This receiving core ends up looking really nice on paper. It's not like top heavy, but just overall, 5 deep, not as deep as Sean probably prefers, but I like BY. He rushes. I think Carolina's going to be the sleeper team this year. Would not surprise me if they win the division. Would not surprise me if they got in as a wild card team. We see this with Dave Canales. He just makes quarterbacks. We saw it at the end with Bryce Young. We've talked about him a lot. Xavier Liga making some catches in practice. I know a lot of people are kind of forgetting about him, but he is a first-round wide receiver who was a project that needed some work. So I like BY here in tier 3. If you were punting quarterback this year in fantasy football, it might be a little scary for some. I'm comfortable with Bryce Young as my QB1. If you want to pair him with somebody else, I get it, but I'm willing to go that low as a quarterback 1 if I've built my roster elsewhere.
All right. I agree with you. I had him bumped up 1 tier as well. So we'll move him up. What about JJ and CJ?
I would put CJ Stroud in tier 2, but I'm not going to fight you guys on not doing that.
We can do tier 3. I want to move McCarthy up. This is such a slam dunk. He's got all the best weapons. He's got the best offensive coach, or one of. I know it said offensive line's better. Add another running back so Aaron Jones doesn't get ran into the ground. Just saw what they did with Sam Darnold. I think you're going to get the same with JJ McCarthy. And JJ McCarthy ends up, especially in super flex drafts, he ends up so far deep that he could be your quarterback too. And I don't want to call it free, but he ends up being very cheap compared to what he's probably going to output.
How deep?
Pretty damn deep.
Pretty damn deep. Is there anybody else in here who we think, or is Trevor Lawrence really plummeting this far?
I'm not a Lawrence guy. I'm just not a Lawrence guy. He's never produced for fantasy. The Brian Thomas stuff last year was with McCorkle Jones when Mac Jones was in the end of last year. I know Travis Hunter's good. The offensive line is still pretty goofy. We've just never seen him as like a viable fantasy quarterback. It's always been 15 to 20, it seems like, with him. So I'm going to leave him here. I'm worried about Tua. When Tua is good, he is good, but I think that Miami's a team that is just going to absolutely plummet. I will say one thing. I think Michael Penix, you can make a case to him go up to tier 3. That's probably me being very aggressive, but I really like how Atlanta's offense sets up with Michael Penix this year. The rest of the guys, Matthew, Gino, they can stay in this tier.
All right. Well, our dad, Joe, is gone, so you and I are going to do whatever the hell we want here.
Sounds good.
I would definitely like all these moves. Penix, I was on the fence about, but I will go with you. So let's take a look as I write down timestamp quickly. That leaves us in tier 4 with Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Stafford, and Gino. Now, for me, if I'm looking at anybody to move down a tier, man, I'm moving Stafford down a tier. All this news about his back, like, is he healthy? I mean, broken backs aren't great to play with, right? I saw Batman.
It sounds spinal to me, in the words of Mike Tyson. I can't do the list spinal. I can't do it, but I would move Stafford down. And then one guy in tier 5 that I'd like to move up is Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick that nobody wants to talk about. I think he is going to be a lot better than people expect. I do not want to compare the quarterbacks to him to Jaden Daniels, but that situation sure does seem very familiar. It was the one wide receiver and Terry McLaurin and some guys. For Tennessee, it's Calvin Ridley and friends. Got good running backs, Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears. I know he's hurt, but I mean, Cam Ward has said the right stuff. He seems like a leader. Seems like these guys are already behind him. And he's one of the best college quarterbacks as far as production goes. So I like him here. I think he's another guy who gets forgotten about late in drafts for redraft. He could be an easy quarterback too, and then in super flex, if you want to punt, I think he just sits there and nobody thinks about it. So I like Cam Ward a lot, and I definitely think, honestly, not going to say it aggressively, though, he could end up tier 3 if he ran a little bit.
All right. So now looking at tier 5. Darnold, Rodgers, Richardson, Wilson, Jones, Tyler Shuck, Flacco, Dart, Sanders, Stafford. We have a lot of QBs from the same teams up here, right? It's the 2 options.
Yep.
The only ones who aren't are Stafford, Rodgers, and Darnold. Should we move them up to tier 4 only because they are the unquestioned starters going into this league, regardless of injury? If Stafford is healthy, we know he's playing the entire season. If Darnold is healthy, we know he's going to be the quarterback this year.
I think it's fair. I'd take a chance on Darnold over the other guys. I think he's got more upside than Rodgers, Stafford, where those guys are just 15 points. You might be able to get 20 if they throw 3 touchdowns in a game.
Okay.
And then I would say Anthony Richardson, but I do not think he's going to play 17 games. So I'm just that's not a risk I'm going to take here. I'm just going to leave him there with Daniel Jones.
Okay, Joe's back, so we can't make crazy decisions. I don't want you to look at anything we just did. Is there anybody from this others list, real quickly, who we should move to tier 5?
Spencer
I
Rattler,
have 2.
the Saints starting quarterback.
Okay. From off the top rope.
Brutal.
All right, my computer's going a little slow. I don't know. I can't put him there. I think even if he starts, he's going to be terrible. He was terrible last year.
Oh, I mean, he was thrown to Bub Means.
Put some respect on that name.
I love Bub Means, but not as my wide receiver 1 when he's a rookie.
Man,
he went on
I
IR.
don't like
Poor Bub.
the Rattler at all.
I love Rattler.
J-Mo?
Yeah, I don't think he's starting. I think he might start week 1. I do not think he's starting 17. So
well, does he know
fair.
the log in this? Because like we have Sanders and Flacco, we have Dart and Wilson, we have Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. Should we have Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler? Probably. These are your 50-50 shots.
And then that'll probably close it out for quarterbacks unless somebody has.
You know, the only 2 dart throws I would have here would be Milroe and Cousins. I know Joe's not a big Milroe fan.
Oh, I love Milroe. He was my quarterback too.
Okay. I think if he gets a shot, I think he might surprise some people in the Justin Fields kind of way. Like just throw the ball as far as you can downfield and then run for your life. And Kirk Cousins, if Matthew Stafford can't go and Jimmy G's not getting it done, I could see Kirk Cousins going to the Rams. Like, I think he's the best backup right now who could go to a team and steady a ship.
Yeah.
So move those 2 guys here.
And I'd say there's probably other names that should be in the others, but that's guys who, like, I feel confident if there's an injury, so probably don't need to really bring them up.
All right. So then let's move on.
Yeah. Before we get to our last position, a word from our sponsors. Make sure you download and subscribe to the Fast Draft app today using the promo code FRAMES, which will earn you a first-time deposit match of up to $50 in credits. From their Origins game, where you only draft rookies, their Flex 4 game, where you pick your favorite players for the upcoming season, and their D-Up game, which is just like Flex 4, but with IDP fantasy football players only. This 20-second timer, PPR formatted, 6-round best ball draft game is perfect for those on the go, but itching to get their fantasy football draft fix satisfied. Again, that's promo code FRAMES, which will earn you a first-time deposit match of up to $50 in credits. The Fast Draft app. Start drafting faster.
All right. Let's move to the tight ends. Now, gentlemen, we do have a hard out in about 26 minutes. So let's get cooking. Is there any argument with tier 1?
Oh, we double tap twice.
I don't think so. George Kittle, I mean, especially with these injuries to San Francisco with Brandon Ayuk and stuff, I think he ends up in tier 1 here. So I think tier 1 stays. It just depends how you like it. I mean, for PPR, Trey McBride, I mean, he's going to catch 9 catches a game. Brock Bowers got the ultra ceiling, and then George Kittle is just George Kittle. So I think tier 1 stays.
Agreed.
Okay, tier 1 stays. All right. Let's move to tier 2. So tier 2 right now is Hutchinson, Kelsey, Laporta, Ingram, Njoku, and Andrews. Anybody there who should move up? I say nay.
I don't think so.
Nah.
Anybody moving down a tier?
This is such a weird tier. I think I could make an argument to move all of them down, but which means I think it's a good tier.
I would move Evan Ingram out of here. I know they
That's
talk
the
about
biggest name.
him being the Joker. I do not think he is the Joker on the Denver Broncos. I think that if there is one, it's going to be RJ Harvey.
How many Jokers does that team have? I feel like we've heard 8 different people are going to be the Joker this year.
Well, you can only have 2. That's all that's in a deck.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Oh, so Evan Ingram, you're breaking my heart here.
He's old. It's like a low floor play. I don't know, man.
I think my thought of Evan Ingram is so based off of 1 or 2 seasons. When you look at the totality of his career, it kind of shows a little bit different of a sign. Now, I know the Broncos are going to focus on him, I would hope, a lot. But
yeah,
I can't argue. If you both think he should move down, I'll move him down. I would like to offer up Njoku.
No, I get it.
To go down.
Yeah, I just
like
those.
Njoku.
I know. I don't. So I'll leave him.
I will say
Njoku's a
this.
tough one.
It does not matter who has thrown him the pigskin. When he is on the field, he has been a top 10 tight end. He does not discriminate who's throwing the ball. I mean, they can have no arms. I mean, he's still going to find a way to catch it. It just, I think Njoku stays. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say he's a massive dynasty buy to me for the next couple of years. If your window's 26, 27, he's a free agent this year. Get that man on a good team. Like, please, God, let Kelsey retire after this year and just replace him. Or something.
You're helping my Harold Fannin investment, so I agree.
Yeah, I don't think he's on the Browns next year. I just hope he goes somewhere with at least a half competent quarterback.
All right. So everybody else stays?
I think so. I'm a little worried about Mark Andrews because the touchdowns is kind of what saved him last year, but Isaiah Likely's already hurt, and Mark Andrews is fully healthy from his tightrope surgery that he had almost, I guess, a year and a half ago.
And he had another injury. Like, didn't he get in a car accident or something like 2 days before the season opened?
Yeah.
That they never really talked about?
Yeah. Nobody called and let me know about it, but Mark Andrews, he's an older player. He's fine where he is.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look then at tier 3. Tier 3 is now Tucker Kraft, Jake Ferguson, Tyler Warren, Dalton Kincaid, Goddard, Loveland, Henry, and Ingram. Is there anybody from this who can move up a tier?
Before we go into this, JJ, can you kind of recap a little bit for Snuffalo
Oh, this
Bill?
is hey Snuffalo Bill. I
What
hope
a
that's
name.
not based off of Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. That's a little scary, buddy. But we are a dynasty show, but we are doing redraft tiers. That way you kind of get a better idea of where you should start players over which other players. So this is a redraft twist for a dynasty show. For me, I'm looking at the top two here, Tucker Kraft and Jake Ferguson. I like them just as much as I like Andrews and Njoku. Oh, damn. Those crickets kill me.
I'm all in on Kraft. He's tight end. I have him at tight end 4 this year. I think he's going to go absolutely nuclear. Granted, I was also massive on Love, so that's kind of where Kraft has looked like the best player in camp by all accounts. And we're not going to talk about the kick return snaps he's had, but from everything I've seen and read, that he is the best player in camp right now.
Okay. What about Jake Ferguson?
I think he's fine where he is.
Okay.
With Pickens there, just as he's the clear third option, I don't think we can move him up.
Isn't Hutchison the third option?
I don't believe I'm not an Addison guy, and with him suspended, I think
what
you
about
could argue
Laporta?
That's another.
Laporta might be the fourth option.
Yeah, I think that's a good comment, but also
I would say those
Laporta
two
is more dangerous in the red zone.
I'd say those two have higher ceilings than Ferguson has. That's the only fight I would have against you.
Now, I will say in a redraft league, if I miss out on those top 3 guys, I'd way rather wait for tier 3 than to shoot on one of these guys in tier 2, aside from maybe Kelsey for the hope that he winds back the clock, or Kraft, who I'm obviously just higher on.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Can I make the case for Tyler Warren to move up?
Sure.
The rookie.
Please go.
Everything in camp says it goes through him. When Shane Steichen had a tight end, he always used it. He hasn't. He's had Mo Alley Cox. He's had like a list of just bad name tight ends. They finally get one in the first round. He's a guy that runs the Wildcat and does like some real fun stuff in the red zone. I'm very comfortable taking a shot on Tyler Warren to be my tight end 1 this year. Even both quarterbacks suck. I think we both are aware of that, but I do think that they will find a way to get Tyler Warren some work, especially over the middle of the field. And I'm going to take a chance on Tyler Warren. I know it's very scary, but I do think that he can set up to be a top 10 tight end.
I know Downs got hurt today, but I think he might be the second option regardless, because I think one of Pittman or Downs is going to disappoint greatly this year. I think Warren might be the number 1 option in that offense.
Gross.
I think it is. I said that we had the big kickoff show, and I said the realm of possibility that Tyler Warren being the number 1 option was bigger than some people think. So I'm in on it. The camp says they're finding ways to get Tyler Warren the ball. And I mean, at tight end, we're shooting for upside. Like between him and Colston Loveland with his amount of mouths to feed in Chicago, I'd rather take the shot on Warren. And I'm comfortable trying him as my tight end 1. So I'm being aggressive. I understand if some people with tight ends, it gets a little slow for them to start up, but it seems like Tyler Warren is really catching on so far.
I'm not against moving him up. Joe?
It's Penn State podcast. Come on, pal.
It is. I just didn't like him that much as a prospect. Yeah, move him up. I get it. Got aggressive with Kraft. I think it's a similar concept.
All right. So now let's take a look at tier 3 and see if anybody needs to move down. We have Ferguson, Kincaid, Goddard, Loveland, Henry, and Ingram. Anybody in this tier who you don't think belongs?
I'm going to Colston Loveland, who I think was a significantly better prospect than Tyler Warren, needs to move down, I think. JMO said it. There's so many mouths to feed. And first year of a new offense, I believe Caleb's gonna blow up in Chicago in 2026, but this is 2025. So,
Okay, I can't disagree with that. JMO, do you want to argue?
I'd like to keep him in tier 3, but I get the sentiment. I think he is a guy who weekly, I mean, he can have some major spike weeks, but might not be as reliable as some of these other guys. Dalton Kincaid had one game last year in double digits. And it was 10 points. I would want him out of tier 3. He has been a disappointment the entire
He has, but I also think last year he was hurt for part of the year.
all the
He
year.
did receive a lot of targets. So I say we leave him here. I mean, it's probably one of the best offenses in the league, and he's probably the third target. So I think he's much like Ferguson.
Who are you saying the second target is there?
Oh, Shakir's hurt. James Cook.
Who's number one then? Because I think Shakir's the pretty clear one. Let's not forgetting someone.
I think Coleman's going to get a lot of work this year. They're going to hope he takes the next step. They've invested a pick in him. They're going to give him targets.
I will say this: Kincaid has had 3 games since 2023 with double-digit fantasy points, and the most he has scored is 12.5. I mean,
I'll take that for a tier 3.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking about a tight end 1. We're in the tight end 2 range.
Yeah.
I just think he's a bust. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
He's a guy I'm taking 0 of.
Yeah. Back to Loveland for a second. I'm worried that Cole Kmet's still going to get a lot of run this year too.
It'd be silly for him not to. It's not like he's a bad tight end. Same thing with
Pryor
bad
last year.
Talk about him.
Yeah.
Well, that team was pretty bad last year.
That's also true.
It's hard to get onto a route when your quarterback's getting hit before he can drop back.
Did you agree with dropping Loveland too, JJ?
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, right? I think we've been
obviously. I love the players.
spoiled.
If you want to keep them in tier 3, keep them in tier 3. But
all right, good. I'm going to put it back then.
Okay.
Hey, Wendy. Emma's here. Wendy's here. It's good to see everybody.
Patio gang is all here.
Patio gang is all here. We might rename the podcast. All right. Anybody
Sean,
else in this group we want to drop down?
No.
I don't think so.
All right. So let's take a look at tier 4 quickly. See if there's anybody we want to move up. We have about 6 minutes left. Anybody from this tier who you would like to move up?
Can I make a very ugly case for Chig Okonkwo? Did I say that right?
Yeah,
You
you
did.
did. You can do that.
The second option in Tennessee for Cam Ward, who I think is going to get a lot of run. He has not produced. Anybody's had Mayo Boy. He has had some just absolute dog shit quarterbacks. But
Language.
excuse me. But Chig, I do think that he will get some run. I think he's a very deep sleeper for tight ends who will get some production just for, especially if something happened to Calvin Ridley. I mean, it's Tyler Lockett, Eric Allen, whatever. You got
anybody else on this list who we want to move up?
Cade Otton ? Depending, that's all health dependent for Godwin, Evans, and co. But no,
I don't like Otton.
The only other
he's fine.
Like, no, we don't have time for my jokes.
Oh well,
he's fine.
We got
to break the tie. Up or down? Up or stay?
I'll stay.
Mason Taylor, stay.
I'll stay.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit on the up for him because I think he is the number 3 receiving target there.
Isn't he hurt right now though? Like, did he just get hurt in the past couple of days?
Isn't everybody hurt right now? All I'm hearing about
Fair.
is hamstrings for everybody.
Yeah.
Hamstrings and high ankles. That's going to be the name of my next fantasy team.
We can.
Last name I'd say is Kyle Pitts, and then I'm going to take myself off the screen.
No, don't.
I can't do it. I can't move Kyle Pitts.
I can't either, but I think it's someone we have to say his name for potential. But leave it at that.
I have not paid for Kyle Pitts, so I've not been burned as bad as others, but I'm willing to play with a little bit of fire. They've been golfing together, him and Michael Penis Jr., as according to the news today. I don't know if you guys saw that meme.
Go Seattle.
Damo.
What?
Yeah,
It was
the
on
Seattle
the news.
news. Yeah,
It's a real thing. I'm
this
not,
is a real thing.
but I'm willing to try the Kyle Pitts fiasco again. But other than that, maybe Janu, but the rest of it will stay.
All right. Quickly looking at the last tier, tier 5. There's about 3 guys in here who I would think of moving up.
Theo.
Theo was one of them. Anybody else for you guys? I was thinking of Sanders, who looked
like
good
Sanders.
before that awkward landing on his head.
My concern with him is just there's so many targets there,
There are so many.
but I wouldn't fight moving him up.
What about Elijah Arroyo? Or is he still
Mhm.
year out?
He's a year out. AJ Barner is a great blocking tight end. He'll get the majority of the snaps, I think.
Yeah, I don't see Arroyo being on the field as much to contribute. Only last thing here is maybe Terrence Ferguson, but I'm very worried
Yeah.
about the Stafford portion of the program, and if he's not there, it kind of ruins it for everybody.
There's also Higbee, who I'd say Terrence Ferguson after what's their bye, whatever after their bye is, I would say throw him up in there, but he's a wire guy mid-year.
All right. Looking at the others list, anybody we want to move? You can say one name each.
Conklin.
Hell no. Gadsden.
He's a gadget.
Yeah,
How about Sinat?
He's
Nope.
a fullback.
Yeah, I
I'd say
know, but I
maybe-
wonder if they're going to get him more involved with
I'd
Hurts
say-
getting older.
maybe Dawson Knox.
Based on this, I think
Maybe.
everybody's right where they belong.
Yeah, we're really
Yeah.
trying.
All right,
Yeah.
guys. Well, it is about that time to let the good people know where they can find you. And no final thoughts.
Over on
J-Mo?
the Twitter machine at Jameson Rules, Fantasy and Frames Discord. After this, the Expo show with Stacy, Erica, and Kevin Tompkins talking about the Queen's Classic. Check it out over at Fantasy and Frames. So other than that, that's all I got.
Joe?
You can find me on the social medias at Jolo63. Potentially pictures or tweets about toddlers being weirdos. And I helped write our IDP previews for the NFC divisions, which have been dropping slowly but surely.
Very good. Well, thank you to Joe, Jameson, and the crew at Fantasy and Frames. I'm at JJ Wenner on the socials. We are back next week on Thursday at 7 p.m., our new time for in-season. Stay tuned. Oh, you already said about the Fantasy and Draft Show. And as always, remember, love yourself, know your worth. You are enough. Boat drinks, my friends. Boat drink.